Good evening, everyone. Hi. Hi, Ashutosh, Rashi, Urvashi. Hope you guys can see me and hear me. I'm just trying to put on the charger. Hope I'm audible. Good evening, Rashi. Okay, Nan. Hi, Kishle. So, a warm welcome to each and every one of you. What we will be discussing today is L must do LRDI sets. This is essentially a new series that I've started on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. On all of these days, at 7 p.m., I will be taking a class. I will be taking a class which has to do with LR and DI. Some of you said that maybe is it possible to change the timings? I'm afraid not. This is the slot which is allocated to me. The other option is, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So that's the other option. I'll think about that again at 7 p.m. A couple of you had mailed me, so I'll ask them if Monday, Wednesday, Friday is any better. But I think the people who had a problem with this time slot is because they had something in the 7 p.m. slot. Now, that being said, for those of you who might be joining me for the first time, my name is Ravi Handa. I have been teaching for CAT for close to 15 years, and I've taught 20,000 plus students online via my own website, handagafunda.com. Recently, I started teaching on Unacademy as well. And as a part of Unacademy, I take a lot of classes on YouTube, special classes, which are essentially free classes on the platform. This class is actually a special class. And then there are the paid courses. As a part of the paid course, I'm currently taking a complete LR course in which I cover everything from the very basics to the most difficult concepts. And that is why I'm discussing these, sets which are helpful for LR and DI. If you want to know which class is happening when, what the schedule is like, please join my Telegram group here. So my Telegram group, let me just give you guys the link for it. And the next LRDI special class, I'm trying to find the link for that one. Give me 1 second. So the next LRDI class will be on Tuesday, which is 13th of July. And that'll be episode 4 in the series. Okay, here you go. So these are the two links. These are the two links that you can use. Now, for those of you who are planning to join Unacademy, let me tell you there are two kinds of courses which are available: the Plus courses and the Iconic courses. In the Plus courses, you get live classes, pretty similar to this one, but you get them in a structured way. That is, do this, do this, do this. That's an order that you need to follow. In the Iconic one, you get everything which is there in the Plus course, but you get personalized guidance as well. So there are B school grads from top B schools who will help you plan your preparation, tell you which exams to take, which colleges to apply for, and all of that. The subscription plans, the 6-month plan is for 16,400. That's the plan that I'm recommending right now. No point going in for a 1-year plan, man. CAT will be done by then. And when you're planning to register it, you can use the coupon code HANDA. You can use the coupon code HANDA, which will give you an additional 10% discount on the same. So guys, that being said, this is the schedule of my YouTube classes. As you can see, every day I'm taking a class on YouTube at 5 p.m. And in July, I plan to cover nearly everything related to geometry, in these classes. And I guess that's pretty much it. Now we will be discussing what's the agenda for this class. In this class, we will be discussing LRDI sets, which will help you for CAT 2021. LRDI sets, which will help you for CAT 2021. So if you guys are ready, just give me a thumbs up and we can start off with this class. Hi Deepak, good to see you here, man. Okay, so let's just go ahead and start off with today's session. This is the first question. This is the first question which was sent to me. Rashi Gupta. Rashi Gupta had sent this question. Please try this out. Please try this out, or whatever information you can. The questions follow. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 people in this. John, Steve, Hans, Brown, Peter, and Eddie. The first thing that I like about this question is the fact that all names are starting from different letters. So I have John, Steve, Hans, Brown. Who are the others? Peter and Eddie. So these are the people that we have. These are the people that we have. They appeared for a contest. The maximum score was 100. The maximum score was 100. Score of each one was different. No one scored a 0. So basically anything from 1, 2, 3 till 100 is possible. All scores are possible from 1 to 100. Except Brown's score, all other scores were squares of integers. So that tells me something very interesting, that my choice is now limited. My choice is now limited to 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, and 100. So no, 100 is also possible, Kishle. Maximum score is 100. So someone can, theoretically speaking, get 100 out of 100. So that's also possible. The point to note is that except Brown, so out of these 10 values, how many will I need to take? Out of these 10 values, how many will I need to use? I'll need to use at least 5 of them, or rather exactly 5 of them, since all scores are different. Which 5? That I do not know. Which 5? That I do not know, but I'll need 5 values. So this is the first statement. John's score was equal to the sum of the scores of 2 others in the group. Okay, so John's score is equal to sum of the squares of 2 others in the group. So what are the possibilities for John? One possibility for John is 3 square plus 4 square is equal to 5 square. That's possible. Another possibility for John is 6 square plus 8 square is equal to 10 square. So these are the possibilities which are there for John. I don't know whether they're happening or not. And then there is a third possibility, which is score of Brown, because Brown need not be a square. Brown need not be a square. Brown plus n square is actually equal to m square. These are the 3 possibilities which are there for John. Are you guys okay with the 3 possibilities for John? Let me just remove this so that there is clarity and space. So one of these 3 must have happened. One of these 3 must have happened. I don't know which one. But one of these 3 must have happened. Then Brown's score, Peter's score, and Eddie's score were cubes. So Brown, Peter, and Eddie, these 3 were cubes. So let me write it like this. Let me use a different color. Brown, Peter, and Eddie, they were cubes. So they will be 1 cube, 2 cube, 3 cube, and 4 cube, which means they can be 1, 4, 27, or 64. These are the possibilities. 1, 8, 27, and 64. These are the possibilities which are there. Now, we were given that Brown is not a perfect square. If Brown is not a perfect square, from this we can determine that Brown has to be 8 or 27. Very similarly, Peter and P and E have to be perfect squares. P and E have to be perfect squares. So P and E will be 1 or 64. Are you guys okay with these conditions? Everyone okay till here? If you have a doubt, please use the chat window to ask your doubt or to ask your question. I hope all of you are okay till here. Let's look at the next condition. John's score multiplied by Peter's score yields an odd number. So now I'm given that John into Peter should be an odd number. John score multiplied by Peter's score is an odd number. John's score multiplied by Peter's score is an odd number. What does that tell me? So that tells me multiple things. First thing that it tells me is that both of them have to be odd. If both of them have to be odd, this 6 square plus 10 square, 8 square plus 10 square, this possibility is eliminated. Product of two numbers is an odd number. Product of two numbers is an odd number. So that means both of them individually have to be an odd number. Which means Peter has to be 1 and E has to be 64. So I've clearly determined two values. John can be 5 square. I don't really know if John is 25 or if John is some other square. Those possibilities are also there. See, Shreya, you cannot say that John is 25. Shreya, you are wrong about that. You cannot say for a fact that John is 25 for the very simple reason that there are two possibilities which are left as of now. This 5 square or B plus M square. B plus N square is equal to M square. So both of those are possible. So you cannot really say what is happening here. Then the difference between Eddie's score and Steve's score is the score of another person in the group. So this tells me Eddie's score and Steve's score is the score of someone else in the group. So do we have Eddie's score? We have Eddie's score. Now, what can be Steve's score? Steve, we know has to be a perfect square. So this is 64 minus, suppose, an A square. The difference of this has to be a perfect square. How is that possible? Because Steve, see, we know Steve has to be a perfect square. So can you tell me any perfect squares where you can make such sort of a combo? Any perfect square where you can make such sort of a combo? 64 and 49, 64 minus 14, 25 minus 16 will not work. You have already figured out that Eddie is 64. You have to tell me the value of A square and B square. Shreya, if you put S as 49, 64 minus 49 is 15, which is not a perfect square. So that will still not work. Something else? 64 minus A square, modulus of that is another perfect square. 10. Swarnim is absolutely right, because 64 minus 100 is equal to 36. Yes, we need to take a mod because it says the difference. So the difference can mean S minus E or E minus S both. See, if the difference in our salaries is 500 rupees, do you earn 500 rupees more or do I earn 500 rupees more? I don't know. It's just that the difference of the two is 500. So 64, 136. So now I also know the value for S. I also know the value for S has come out as 100. So what all do we know? So we know P is 1, E is 64, S is 100. Sorry, S is 100, E is 64. These we have figured out. What are the other values? Someone is 36. B is 8 or 27. Someone is 36. B is 8 or 37. And J we know is odd. See, we had figured out J is an odd number. That means J is not 36. J has to be an odd number. So who is this person? P, E, S are done. Who is left? So P, E, S are done. John is done. Hans is the one who is left. So Hans is 36. Hans is 36. Now we need to think of an equation for John. John is sum of two values. Sum of two values, that is his answer. So what can I add? John, which values can I add for John among these? Among these, which values can I add so that I get a perfect square? Which value can I add for John to get a perfect square? If I do 27 plus 9, then John becomes 36. Then John becomes 36, but John has to be an odd number. So no, I cannot do that. I cannot do that. 27 plus 64. 27 plus 64 is 91 here. 91 is not a perfect square. Share 27 plus 64 is 91, so that will not work also. Swarnim is right. I should take 1 plus 8. If I take 1 and 8, then 1 plus 8 gives me 9, which is a perfect square. So 24 is ruled out. 27 is ruled out. And this is my final arrangement. Are you guys okay with this? The final arrangement that we have obtained here. If you have any doubts, please use the chat window to ask. And if you're okay with this, just give me a thumbs up so that I can have a look at the questions involved. Okay. Glad to see that all of you have understood this and got this. This question was sent to us by Rashi Gupta. Yes, this is the sort of set that you should expect in the exam. Why? What makes this set a CAT level question? Did you need any formula in this? No. Did you need to make a large number of cases, large number of possibilities? No. Your entire set was limited in a number of choices. Did it require you to think? Yes. So this is an ideal question from a CAT perspective where you don't need any background knowledge. The calculations are not very tedious, but it asks you, it forces you to think. So this is the sort of questions that you A, will come in the exam, and B, you should attempt in the exam also. Let's have a look at the questions now. Questions will be very straightforward, just the values. Who scored the highest? So highest is Steve at 100 because Steve scored 100. Who scored the least? There was one guy with 1, Peter. Peter scored only 1. John's score was equal to the sum of scores of 1 plus 8. So who are these? 1 was Peter, 8 was Brown. So Brown and Peter, option 3. Peter was 1, Brown was 8. The scores of two persons in the group are in the ratio of 1:4. Okay, which one is 1:4? John 9 and Hans 36. John is at 9. Hans is at 36. And that is why they have the ratio is 1:4. Whose score is lower among them? John's score is lower among them because John is at 9. So I'm sure. This is the list of conditions which was given to me. I've done a lot of drawing on it. But again, if you just solved it step by step, this should be a pretty straightforward or a pretty easy question for you in the exam. So guys, can I go ahead to the next question? If you're okay with this, give me a thumbs up. I'll go ahead to the next question then. Okay. Yeah, so just to remind you, there are multiple batches which are starting. There is a batch which is on the 10th as well as on the 14th of July. My recommendation would be to go in for the 10th of July for people who are just starting their preparation, and for those who are slightly advanced in their preparation, to them I would recommend the 14th July batch. And when you are trying to register for it, please remember to use the coupon code HANDA. That will get you an additional 10% off on the same. Piyush, do we have to follow the given order? No, not at all. Not at all. You should always look for confirmed information. This question had no confirmed information, so I just followed the order. Following the order is a bad idea. You need to look for confirmed information. Just very little was given to us here, so I just followed the order. For CAT 2022, couple of batches are starting this Saturday and next Saturday. I'm not very sure if there is anyone targeting CAT 2022 here, but if you are, I would recommend that you go ahead and join these batches. The classes will not be as frequent as, in the CAT 21 batches. It will be suited to you if you can, attend these classes, figure out what the strategy should be. Okay, so this is the next question. The year is 2089 and it goes on for 3 slides. So this is on the harder or the difficult slide. So just let me know, whenever you want to look at the next slide, just type a done or next or yes, so that I know I need to go to the next slide. The year is 2089. Beijing, London, New York, and Paris are in contention to host the 2096 Olympics. Okay. The eventual winner is determined through several rounds of voting by members of the IOC, with each member representing a different city. Okay. All the 4 cities in contention are also represented in the IOC. So these guys, they are there, they are voting for other cities, they are voting for themselves. They are a part of the pool, they are a part of the voter pool. In any round of voting, the city receiving the least number of votes gets eliminated. The survivor after the last round of voting gets to host the event. So essentially, we are given this table. Let me just redraw this table with some more information. So in round 1, London got 30. Round 1, London got 30 votes, which was maximum, and New York got eliminated with 12. So New York got least, New York got 12 votes. In round 2, 3 people will participate. 3 people will participate in round 2. Who are they? Paris and Beijing. So Paris has got the maximum. Paris has got a total of 32 votes. Beijing is the third one, which is getting eliminated at 21. Beijing is the third one, which is getting eliminated at 21. This is what is given to me. Okay, I'll just repeat the first paragraph again. The first paragraph says that there are 4 countries involved: Beijing, London, New York, and Paris. And then there is a voting which is happening. Whoever gets the lowest number of votes, he gets eliminated. Whoever gets the lowest number of votes gets eliminated. Then we are given a table. I'm just remaking that table so that it is easier to understand. We are given in the first round, New York got eliminated. So New York must be 4th. The other two must be in between. Which two? Paris and Beijing. How many votes they got? That part I do not know. I just know, or it could be Paris, Beijing, or it could be Beijing and Paris. I don't even know the order between them. But they are there. However, in round 2, I know that the winner is Paris and Beijing is the one which got eliminated. Here I can say for sure that the second guy must have been London. And then let's go ahead with the next set of conditions. A member is allowed to cast votes for at most 2 different cities in all rounds. Hence, a member becomes ineligible to cast a vote in a given round if both the cities he/she voted for in earlier rounds are out of contention. So suppose you vote for London and Paris, and then London and Paris are not even there in the third round of voting, then you will not be allowed to vote. So this is a condition. If both your votes have been bad votes, both your votes have been to people who are not even contesting, then you are not allowed to vote again. A member is also ineligible to cast a vote in a round if the city he or she represents is in contention in that round of voting. So suppose you are from Paris and Paris is still contesting, then you will not be allowed to vote. Okay? As long as a member is eligible, he/she must vote and vote for only one candidate. Okay. So, you are allowed to vote for only one candidate. I'll keep that in mind as well. The following incomplete table shows the information of how the votes were cast, I also have the number of total votes. So in round 2, the total number of votes which are cast is 83. So what can be the number of votes for London? 32 and 21 is 53. So London must have gotten 30 votes. In the third round, there are 75 votes only. How has the number fallen? Can you tell me how is it that the number has fallen from 83 to 75? What's the reason for this fall? From 83 to 75, that means your number is reduced by 8. So what would have made 8 people ineligible? What would have made those 8 people ineligible? What must have happened? Anant is there, and Anant is voting in round 2. I don't know if Anant voted in round 1 or not, but Anant is someone who voted in round 2 and he is no longer allowed to vote. Anant voted in round 2. See, if Anant comes from Paris or London, he would not have been allowed in round 2 also. So there is something that must have happened. So how did he lose? How did we lose the number of people? What must have taken place? There are 2 ways you can become ineligible. You can become ineligible if your city is there. Or you can become eligible if you might have voted for New York and Beijing in round 1 and round 2. So they must have voted for New York and Beijing in round 1 and round 2, and that's a possible reason for them being eliminated. Let's see what happens. Next conditions. Okay. So guys, are you okay till here? Beijing voters, yes. So these people must have voted for New York also and for Beijing also. That's the reason they got eliminated. That's the reason they got eliminated. Okay. Then all those who voted for London and Paris in round 1 continued to vote for the same cities in the subsequent rounds as long as those cities were in contention. So whoever voted for London here, they will continue to vote for London. And whoever voted for Paris here, they will continue to vote for Paris. 75% of those who voted for Beijing in round 1 voted for Beijing in round 2 also. So if Beijing was 4x, 3x of them voted here as well. 3x of them voted here as well, which tells me the number of votes for Beijing in round 1 must have been a multiple of 4. Must have been a multiple of 4. 28, I don't know that. That I cannot say whether it was 28 or not. Those who voted for New York in round 1 voted either for Beijing or Paris in round 2. So these 12 guys, they voted either for Beijing or for Paris in round 2. Okay. The difference in votes cast for two contending cities in the last round was 1. Okay. So if the difference in votes cast for the two contesting cities, which are the two cities, Paris and London, the difference is 1. How is that possible? How is that possible that the difference is 1? Total is 75, 38 and 37. This is one possibility. Or London is 38 and Paris is 37. These are the two possibilities. Shreya, how do you know it is London? What logic can you say that it is London? You can't really say that right now. 50% of those who voted for Beijing in round 1 voted for Paris in round 3. So, out of these 12, Beijing in round 1. So, that means Paris here will get 2x of the votes from this. Paris here will get 2x of the votes from this. Now, what do I do? Now I'm stuck. I don't know. I have Paris, London. I have the, the entire table. How do I proceed from here? How do I proceed from here? Any ideas, any suggestions? I'll be happy to hear you. How do I proceed from here? What do I do? What do I do? How do I go ahead? Go through all possible cases. That would be a lot, man. That would be a lot. I can't really, consider all the possibilities. There has to be some information, something that needs to strike. Something that needs to strike. Can you tell me anything about the total number of members? The total number of members. Can you have a look at this? Can you have a look at this and tell me something about the total number of members? Or the total number of votes or anything like that? Any information about the total number of members? That's the starting point. That's the starting point. Let me tell you, the starting point for this is what is the total number of members which are there. Total number of members is 82. No, man, you are getting, oh, in round 1 can be 82. Okay. So Shreya says round 1 can be 82. No, Shreya, I'm not going to accept can be. Can you give me guaranteed information about how many people voted in round 1 or how many total people are there? Not can be. How can you, what information can you give me for sure for guarantee? Because that is what is going to solve this question. Have a look at the conditions again. Have a look at the conditions again. In any round of voting, a member is allowed to cast vote for at most 2 different cities in all rounds of voting combined. So if you vote for city 1, you can vote for city 2 in the next round. But you can vote only for one particular city. Also, if his city is taking part, then he is not eligible to participate. So, okay. In round 3, there are 75 people. In round 3, there are 75 people who have voted. In round 3, people can get eliminated in multiple ways. One of the ways is that they are bad voters. One of the ways is they voted for New York first and Beijing second. They were bad voters and that's why they were kicked out. But in round 2, who cannot vote? In round 2, who cannot vote? In round 3, bad voters are ruled out. Also, people from Paris and London are ruled out. But in round 2, who cannot vote? Can you tell me that? Who cannot vote in round 2? The only people who are not allowed to vote in round 2 are people from Paris, London, and Beijing. And that means the total number of people is 86. And that means the total number of people is 86. Are you okay with that? The total number of people being 86? Because Paris, London, and Beijing cannot vote. That means what is the total number of voters in round 1? 82. Total number of voters in round 1 is 82. Because London, Paris, Beijing, and New York, these are the ones which cannot vote. Sure. Okay, so how many representatives are there? That's the first question that I am trying to answer. How many representatives are there? Then, members, we have each member representing a different city. So that means every city is sending one member. Every city is sending one member. In round 2, how many votes are being cast? 83. So those 83 members are there who are giving their votes. But there are some other members who are sitting behind who are not allowed to vote. How many such members are there who are not allowed to vote? The person from Paris, the person from London, and the person from Beijing. These are the 3 people who are not allowed to vote. So if there are 83 voters plus Paris, plus London, plus Beijing, these 3 people are not allowed to vote. So that means the total number of votes is 86. Karthik, are you okay with this now? Total number of votes is 86. So total number of votes in round 1 must have been 82. Total number of people who are voting in round 1 must have been 82. Now comes the interesting part. Let me just... We know that there are 75 people who have actually voted in round 3. We know that. How many people, if there were no bad voters? Bad voters, let me write down who are the bad voters. Bad voters are those who in round 1 gave their vote to New York and in round 2 who gave their vote to Beijing. So, how many, if there were no bad voters, then how many people would have been there in round 3? 84 people would have voted in round 3. But the actual number of votes is 75. That means how many bad voters were there? There could have been 84 voters, but the actual number of voters is just 75. That means there were some bad voters. How many bad voters were there? There were 9 bad voters. There were 9 bad voters. And which makes my life really, really simple, which makes this question virtually solvable. Do you guys need more hints? Do you guys need more hints? I believe now you should be able to solve it. Now you should be able to solve it. Let me just remove all the bad drawing that I have done. I think this was the most crucial part that I have now written down for you. I hope you guys will be able to, solve this now. Okay. So now, can you tell me what other information that you have? What other information do you have which can make your life simpler? Anyone? Any suggestions? Any ideas? What part will I fill in next? The part that I'm going to fill in next is, out of these 12, I'm dividing this 12 into 2 parts. One part is 9 voters who are going to Beijing, and then there will be 3 more voters. Where are those 3 going? The voters who voted for New York in round 1 voted either for Beijing or for Paris in round 2. So out of these 12, 9 voted for Beijing and 3 voted for Paris. So that's the split of this 12. Are you guys okay with the split that I've done for this 12? Then, if 9 are coming from here, there are 12 more. There are 12 more. Where are those 12 coming from? Where are those 12 coming from? These 12 are the 75% of the original. You remember the 4x, 3x part that we had done? This part, Beijing, 75% of those who voted for Beijing in round 1 voted for Beijing in round 2 as well. So from this 16, 12 came here and 9 came here. Are you okay with this? So how many voters were there for Paris? How many voters were there for Paris? 30 and 16 and 12. So Paris was 24. All of these 24 will definitely go here. All of these 24 will definitely go here. Everyone for London, the London 30-30 will continue. The London 30-30 will continue. How are we getting the others? How is this 32 being completed? So 24 and 3 is 27. 24 and 3 is 27. What about the others? I need 5 more votes. Where will I get those 5 more votes from? So Beijing, 12 votes are here. 4 votes for Beijing go here. I still need one more vote. I still need one more vote. Where will I get that one more vote from? That one more vote will be the New York member. See, here the New York member could not vote. So that one more vote will come from New York. I know my table is looking very ugly. Let me just remake this table. Let me just remake this table. Round 1, round 2, round 3. Total number of votes when we started was 86. In round 1, 83 people voted, 82 people voted. In round 2, 83 people voted. Round 3, 75 people voted. How many votes were there? How many votes were there? For London, let me use different colors. London, it was 30. Paris, it was 24. Then Beijing, it was 16. And New York, it was 12. In round 3, what happens? In round 3, Paris becomes the leader with 32. So I'm just writing it down. Paris becomes 32. How does it get this 32? It gets its 32, 24 from here, plus 4 from Beijing, 4 from Beijing, plus 3 from New York, 3 from New York, 24, 24, 3, 4, and finally there is that one guy who belongs to New York. That is the composition of this 32. That is the composition of this 32. London got 30 before, London got 30 now, so nothing has changed for London. London is still at 30. Third one, who is the third guy? Beijing is 21. How is Beijing getting its 21? It's getting 12 from this 16, and it is getting its 9 from New York. I think this table looks a lot cleaner. This table looks a lot cleaner so that I know what's going to happen. Round 3. A total of 75. I don't know how many votes they have, but London will definitely have 30 votes, which will come from here. Paris will definitely get these 24 votes. Paris will definitely get these 24 votes. Let's see what happens for the rest of the stuff. Are you guys okay till here? I hope you are. I hope you are. Then, do we have any other conditions? Which condition do we have? 50% of those who voted for Beijing in round 1 voted for Paris in round 3. So my life has become really, really simple now. Really, really simple with the last condition that 50% of these. So 8 people have voted for London, which makes London as 38. And if London is 38, then Paris is the remaining. Everyone else has voted for Paris. Everyone else has voted for Paris. So that is 37. Are you guys okay with this? And if you actually want to, look at the breakup, see, these 9 people were disqualified. From these 12 people, 8 went here. That means the remaining 4 went here. So 24 and 4 is 28. 28. Then all of these 4 plus 3 plus 1, these 8 people came here as well. These 8 people came here as well. So that's a total of 36. That's a total of 36. And then there was the person from Beijing. Then there was that one person from Beijing who eventually came here. So this is my final table. This is my final table. Are you guys okay with this? Let me know if there is any part, anything that you do not understand in this. There is any value that you are not okay with. I'll be happy to explain this again. I'll be happy to explain this again if there is any value repeat in this. Beijing, one from Beijing. Shreya, the one from New York is already included in this 8. The one from Beijing, because now the Beijing guy is also allowed to vote. The Beijing guy is also allowed to vote. I'll go ahead with the questions now. I'm assuming all of you are okay with this. Okay. What percentage of the members from those who voted for New York in round 1 voted for Beijing in round 2? So, total number of people who voted for New York in round 1 was 12. From those 12, 9 voted for Beijing in round 2. So 9 out of 12, this is 75%. Number of votes cast for Paris in round 1. Paris in round 1 is 24. Which of the following statements must be true? IOC member from New York must have voted for Paris in round 3. So the New York guy has voted for Paris in round 2. That is correct. A is correct. IOC member from Beijing voted for London in round 3. The Beijing guy, no. The Beijing guy actually voted for Paris in round 3. The Beijing member voted not for London but for Paris in round 3, making B as false. So only A or option 1 is correct. What percentage of members from among those who voted for Beijing in round 2? How many voted for Beijing in round 2? 21. So Beijing in round 2 was 21. Were eligible to vote in round 3. Were eligible to vote in round 3. So 9 were disqualified. 9 were disqualified. How many were eligible? 12 were eligible. 12 were eligible out of 21. So that is 57%. How are you getting this as 66.66? 9 were disqualified. So this, did I make some calculation mistake somewhere? Shreya, how are you getting this as 66? I'm checking. Not really getting this. 9 were disqualified, na? Let me check. How many? 9 are getting disqualified. That is why 12 people are voting ahead. Number of votes has reduced by 8. Number of votes has reduced by 8. Percentage of members among those who voted for Beijing in round 2 were eligible to vote in round 3. So I think there is something wrong with the options here. 9 were disqualified. It should be 12 by 21 or 57% roughly. This should have been 57%. Something seems wrong with the options here. Because it's not 8. It's not 8. 9 people are getting disqualified. This 9. Are you guys okay with this? This particular set? Difficult set. Should you do it in the exam? I think so, Kishle. Yes, I think so. because once again, a little bit of manipulation of numbers was required, a little bit of manipulation. 8 voted for London. Okay, maybe I've interpreted the question wrong. Let me just, carefully read the question again. What percentage of members from among those who voted for Beijing in round 2? So 21 voted for Beijing in round 2 and were eligible to vote in round 3. So 9 were disqualified. So 12 were eligible to vote in round 3, voted for London. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the last part. So out of these 12 eligible voters, how many voted in round 3? From this 12, 8 voted for London, 4 voted for Paris. So this should be 8 out of 12, which is 66.66%. Thank you, Shreya. Thank you for pointing that out. I didn't read the complete question. That's why I made this error. Now, just to remind you, there is a scholarship test tomorrow at 12 o'clock. You can use coupon code HANDA to take that scholarship test. And if you perform well, you can actually, get a hefty scholarship on the courses. There is also another scholarship test happening tomorrow at 7 p.m. But this is only open for final year engineering students. So it's a little restricted, only for final year engineering students. Both of these will be on the app. So you can download the Unacademy app and use coupon code HANDA for that. Okay. I think we are close to an hour, but there is one more set that I wanted to discuss. It's a good set. So, guys, if you want me to continue, please give a thumbs up. If you think you are tired and we should wrap it up here, just write a no. I don't see any no's. Okay, so let's continue and let's try this particular set. Let us try this particular set. This is from CAT 2026. So we have a couple of conditions. Let me know when you are done with the information or the theory that is given over here, so that I can go to the next slide. Hi Harshit, welcome. So for those of you who are joining us late, I think we are very close towards the end of the class today. What we are doing is we are discussing CAT level questions, must do LRDI sets for CAT 2021. That's what we are trying to do today. In this question we are given, there are two traders, Chetan and Michael, who were involved in buying and selling of MCS shares over timetable Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 7 p.m. flat. Every Tuesday, every Thursday, every Saturday. And Anant, you can follow me on Unacademy. I think I've already scheduled classes till the 17th, so the link should be there. You can click on that so that it will notify you. So at the beginning of the first day, MCS share was priced at 100 rupees. At the end of the fifth day, it was priced at 110. Okay. So basically, in the beginning, it was 100 rupees. And at the end of fifth day, it was 110. So end of day 1, end of day 2, end of day 3, end of day 4, and end of day 5, this was 110. Then, at the end of each day, the MCS share price either went up by 10 or it came down by 10. So basically what has happened is, in 5 tries, I think I messed up the slides. I should keep the slide here. So in the beginning it is 100, then day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5 is 110. We are given that the movement on any particular day could be plus 10 or minus 10. What is the net movement? Your net movement is plus 10. If your net movement is plus 10, that means you must have had 3 positive days and 2 negative days. But in what order, that I do not know. The order could be anything. The order could be anything. Okay. The beginning price of MCS share on any given day was the same as the ending price of previous day. So that's fine. We just need 5 values. Chetan and Michael started with the same number of shares and the same amount of cash and had enough of both. So they had lots of shares and lots of cash. So that's not a problem. Given below are some additional facts. Each day, if the price went up, Chetan sold 10 shares or the closing price. On the other hand, each day if the price went down, he bought 10 shares. So he will. So what will Chetan do? There are 3 days on which price is going up. So he will sell 30 shares. There are 2 days on when the price is going down. I don't know the order. So he will buy 20 shares. So in the end, he will be down by 10 shares. He will be down by 10 shares. If on any day the closing price was above 110, then Michael sold 10 shares of MCS. If it was below 90, he bought 10 shares. If it was below 90, then he bought 10 shares. I'll keep that in mind because now it depends on, what the order is going to be. Now, let's look at the questions. So if Chetan sold 10 shares of MCS on 3 consecutive days, so when will Chetan sell? Chetan will sell 10 shares if it goes up. If it goes up. So the going up part is happening on 3 consecutive days. So how can he go up on 3 consecutive days? So that's possible as 100, 110, 120, 130, 120, 110. That is one possibility. Or first day was negative, then 3 positives. I think I should use different colors. Red for negatives and green for positives. 100, 110, 120. And then down again, so that I'll be able to easily identify. So this is 110, 120, 130. And what is the third possibility? Start with 100, you fall twice, 90, 80, and then you rise thrice. That is 90, 100, 110. These are the only 3 ways when you can have 3 consecutive ones. These are the only 3 ways when you can have 3 consecutive rises, because Chetan is selling 10 shares on 3 consecutive days. That means Chetan sells on a rise. Chetan sells on a rise. So these are the only 3 possibilities which are there. While Michael sold 10 shares only once. Michael sold 10 shares only once. When will Michael sell? Michael will sell if the price was above 120. So Michael will sell at 120. 120 or above. Greater than equal to 120, Michael will sell. So Michael will sell here, here, and here. In this case, he will sell here. And in this case, he will never sell. And in this case, he will never sell. That means this is the case we are talking about. Here, Michael is selling thrice. Here, Michael is not selling at all, which means now I know which case must have happened. Then, what was the price of MCS at the end of day 3? End of day 1, 90. End of day 2, 100. End of day 3 is 110. This is end of day 3. End of day 5. So 110 or option 3 will be my answer here. Good question. This is the sort of question that you get in the exams. Again, that is the reason why I am, selecting these sets. So for those of you who want to, really prepare, I would recommend that you guys should come in and join my course where I'm covering the complete syllabus for LR. You can use coupon code HANDA for that. You can use coupon code HANDA for that for the complete LR prep. On the other hand, if you are looking just for practice, the problem is that a lot of books have a lot of sets. So it's not that they don't have good quality sets. It's just that they have, very bad quality sets, which are insanely difficult, which is not required for the CAT exam. So I hope you guys would have understood. See, the main thing is not solving these sets, is to just to give you an idea of what is important, what should be solved in the exam. This one or this one, all three sets that we have done today are something that you can do in the exam, and more importantly, you should do in the exam. So we are done with the first one. Please try this out. Please try this out. We are given Michael ended up with 100 less cash than Chetan at the end of day 5. Michael ended up with 100 less cash than Chetan at the end of day 5. What was the difference in the number of shares possessed by Michael and Chetan at the end of day 5? So how are you going to figure this part out? Here what we are given is Michael has ended with less than 100 rupees less. So how is that possible that Michael is ending with 100 rupees less? What should happen for that? What should happen for that? When is Chetan buying or selling? So Chetan will definitely sell 30 shares, and he'll definitely buy 20 shares. At what price? That I do not know. At what price? That I do not know. And now we are given Michael has ended up with 100 rupees less cash. So what can I do? How can Michael will ended up with 100 rupees less cash? Do you need to solve the question, or there is something that you can do? Because there are lots of possibilities. Lots of possibilities. He bought shares when the price went down. Again, lots of possibilities with that, Kisle. To be honest, if you have understood this set clearly, you should be able to solve this question in 30 seconds. You should be able to solve this question in 30 seconds. Can you tell me how or why should have happened? What should have happened? Any ideas? Any suggestions? Anand, Shreya? Any guesses? See guys, how many shares are they buying or selling? How many shares are they buying or selling on any particular day? What is the condition? They'll buy or sell 10 shares. Now, if they buy or sell 10 shares, roughly, how much do 10 shares cost? Any combination you look at, 1000 rupees, 1100, 1200, that's roughly what the cost is. That's roughly what the cost is. So, if the number of shares between them is different, the cash difference, so suppose they differ by 20 shares. Suppose they differ by 20 shares, then the cash they have will differ by roughly 2000. Because every share, they're starting with a large amount of money. Every share costs 100 rupees. since the difference is only 100 rupees, you cannot get that difference when you have 10 share or a 20 share difference. The only way you can get is such a small difference. This difference, 100 rupees, is approximately the price of one share. Price of one share is the difference between them. That the only way that can be generated is if both of them had the same number of shares. There is no need to calculate. There is no need to come up with, this possible case or that possible case. All that is not required in this question. You should be sharp enough to realize that every share costs 10 rupees. So to get a difference of, if the difference was 1,000, very complicated question. Very complicated question. You will have to think of all possibilities, and then you will have to think of at what price you are buying, at what price you are selling. I will not even attempt the question in that case. But here, since the price difference is 100, I very clearly know that can only happen. This is when they have the same number of shares. Otherwise, the difference would be a lot larger. Next one. Now we are given that Chetan ended up with 1,300 more cash than Michael. So now I will have to see at the end of day 5, what was the price of MCS share at the end of day 4. Now you need to think about it, that how is it possible that Chetan ended up with 1,300 more? How can that happen? How can end with Chetan will end with 1,300 more? So we know Chetan 1,300 more. That means maybe 10 shares, something around that. Okay, what do we know about Chetan? So we know about Chetan is he sells 30 shares and he buys 20 shares. So Chetan, we know he sells 30 shares for sure. He buys 20 shares for sure. Which means he will sell approximately 3,000 and he will buy approximately 2,000. So his net gain will be approximately 1,000. We are given that he has 1,300 rupees more than Michael. He has 1,300 rupees more than Michael. So now can you tell me what should have Michael done? What would have Michael done? Or what is the difference in the number of shares? Once again, here we could say that both of them had the same number of shares. In this case, can you tell me what is the difference in the number of shares at the end? It cannot be 13 here. Kishle, they are buying, selling in lots of 10. In buying, selling in lots of 10. First of all, who will have more number of shares? Who will have more number of shares? Chetan or Michael? Chetan has 1,000 rupees more. Chetan has more cash. That means number of shares with Michael should be more than the number of shares with Chetan. By how much? 10. Do you guys agree with this? Number of shares with Michael should be greater than the number of shares with Chetan by 10. Are you guys okay with this? Now, if Chetan started with 100 and Michael started with 100, how much does Chetan have now? Chetan has definitely 90 now. Chetan has definitely 90 now because he would have sold 30 and he would have purchased 20. That means Michael has how many shares now? So Michael has 100 shares. Now, this is the important part. So how can Michael have 100 shares? How can Michael have 100 shares? So what does Michael do? Michael will buy if the closing price is above 110, and Michael will sell if it is below 90. Now we know that net change in Michael is 0. The net change in Michael is 0. So what are the possibilities? So you're going from 100 to 110. You're going from 100 to 110. Michael is 100 to 100. So one possibility is Michael buys 0, sells 0. That means the price always remains 90, 100 or 110. Can we do that? Goes to 110, then falls to 100, then again goes to 110, then falls to 100. That is possible. What other possibility is there? Was 100, goes down to 90, back to 100, goes down to 90, back to 100, and then goes to 110. What else? It goes up, back down, back up, back down. So these are the various possibilities which are there. These are the various possibilities which are there. But we are also given that Chetan has ended up with 1300 more cash. 1300 more cash. That means the price must have hit 130 somewhere. That means the price must have hit 130 somewhere, because only then such sort of trade must have taken place. Some trade must have taken place, because otherwise he will not end up with 1300 as a figure. So you cannot end up with 1300 as a figure. My question to you is, how do you actually now end up with 1300? So all these possibilities are there. I think 1300 you can generate from other places also. So what was the price of MCS share at the end of day 4? Okay. So now you know that somewhere it needs to hit 130. So how can you make it hit 130? I think we had done that case before. The only way you can actually get up to 130 is 100, 110, 120, 130, 120 and 110. That's the only way this can happen. That's the only way it can happen. But in this case, Michael ends up buying. In this case, Michael ends up buying. So that is not possible. In this case, Michael ends up buying, so that is not possible. So it can never be 130. I think we have to stick to buy 0 and sell 0 case. We have to stick to buy 0 and sell 0 case. This cannot happen, because if it gets to 130, I think the 1300 rupees, that can be made by the gap. 1300 rupees, that can be made by the gap. And in all of these cases, we are getting 100 as the answer. So this will be 100 only. Can you get 120? I don't think you can get 120, because then Michael will have to buy or sell. I think this is unnecessary effort that I have done in the end. I should have realized, my mistake, I should have realized that the only possibility is buy 0, sell 0. Buy 0, sell 0. You can make any arrangement that you want to make. At the end of day 4, you will end up with 100 only. At the end of day 4, you will end up with 100 only. That is why it will be 100. Then what could have been the maximum possible increase? Maximum possible increase in the cash combined. So how do you make the maximum possible increase? For maximum possible increase, they should all sell their shares at the best possible prices. Yep. And then maybe buy lower and stuff. So, when will they have the best prices? Let's take them on a rise. 100, 120, 130, 120, 110. This is the max possible combo where you raise the prices. In this case, how much money will they make? So Chetan and Michael, let me see. When is Michael back? Chetan sells on the rise. Okay. So Chetan will have plus 1100, plus 1200, plus 1300, minus 1200, minus 1100. So Chetan's net gain in cash is plus 1300. What about Michael? Michael will sell when the price is above 110. So that's a good thing that we have done maximum. So Michael will gain 1200 on day 2, 1300 on day 3, another 1200 on day 4. So this is 3700. So what is the total cash gain? The total cash gain in this case is 1300 plus 3700, which is a total of 5000. Or option 4. Are you guys okay with this set? The maximum possible increase in the combined cash balance of Chetan and Michael at the end of 5th day. Are you guys cool with this? Let me know if you have any questions. Vedant and Sejal, I'm sorry you have joined us kind of late towards the end of this class. But yes, the recording is available. You guys can download the PDF for this session as well. Oh, we have one more question. I'm sorry, I thought we were done. If Michael ended up with 20 more shares than Chetan at the end of day 5. See, how is it possible? Michael, I don't know how many gains. Chetan will definitely lose 10 shares. Chetan will definitely lose 10 shares because he sells 30 and he buys 20. Now, how will Michael end up with 20 more shares than Chetan? So if Michael ends up with 20 more shares than Chetan, that means Michael has plus 10. Michael has purchased 10 shares. So how can Michael purchase 10 shares? See, for Michael to purchase 10 shares, price should fall below 90. See, when will Michael buy? Michael will buy if it was below 90. So the price needs to go to 80 at some point of time. So the only way it can go to 80 is if it goes to 90, 80, and then 90 and 100 and 110. This is the only time it is going to hit 80. This is the time when Michael is going to buy the 10 shares. So at the end of day 3. So day 1, 90, day 2, 90, day 3, 90. See, once you get the hang of it, these questions don't really take that much time. And this one will be option 1. And I think that was the last question that we had for today. Once again, I would like to remind you, every Friday at 7:30 p.m., I'm conducting a business awareness quiz. This is very helpful for exams like IFT and XAT. I do it on YouTube, so you guys can join me for that. Unacademy also has an Ask a Doubt feature where you can click a picture, send it to us. Either me or someone from our team will clarify that doubt for you. And that brings me to the end. So I can see a lot of people joining in towards the end. I'm extremely sorry, guys. I am just wrapping it up. But in case there is anything that you want to discuss with respect to your preparation, please drop me an email on ravihanda@gmail.com. To those of you who attended this class, I'll request you to please provide positive feedback at the end. the better feedback that I get, the more such classes for free I'll be allowed to take on the Unacademy platform. So I request you to please do that. And on that note, I'm hoping everything is clear. If there are any doubts, anything lingering, you can always drop me an email. And on that note, I'd like to end today's class. See you guys soon. Have a nice weekend. Bye Shreya. Bye Kishle. Bye guys.